I guess I should probably just get started anyway, or at least explain what's going on. This is as good a place as any to actually start, too. So, I run the Thief Any Percent No Stat Glitch collection run. And the collection run is all 5 games. You take one character from game 1 and move them to game 2, game 3, game 4. I mean, it has an import-export system. We use it for this purpose. But right off the bat, we have a question, because Quest for Glory 1 comes in 2 flavors. It comes in original and new Coke version, the VGA version. There was a time when we would use the VGA version because we thought it was faster. But over time, that has shifted, because if you can get solid execution on the VGA version, you end up being much faster. Now, there are some other things that go in. Hey, Jade. That go into the difference between the VGA and the EGA version. For example, the VGA version's ending is about a minute long, and the EGA is about 4 minutes long. Well, that's a little less than that. It's like 3:30. So you would think right off the bat the endings would make a big difference there, and they do. But there's other things to consider as well. For example, because this is any percent, we'll be using a lot of glitches to make it through the game. And glitches can warp us out of either one of these games. So we can get out of either one of them very, very, very quickly. And the way you get out of the VGA version actually leaves you with very little money in the second game. Hello, good to see you, Shadow. I see Mr. Miller, I see students. That's pretty much what I figure. Anyway, there's something about glitching yourself out of the VGA, which is the prettier version of the game. I think everybody agrees that, I mean, it's got, what, literally 16 times the number of colors. But we don't use this one for not just the fact that it's actually slower, it's because we have money issues with this. So I'm going to be taking you through the route that I usually use through this, so we'll see it from start to finish, and I'll talk about the major things that I'm doing on each screen, and hopefully we'll be able to get this done in 2 hours there. All right. Aw, people love me. Makes me feel good. All right. Now, I said I'm going to do Thief Any Percent. There is a difference between the fighter and the magic user also. It's not in the first game. It does appear in the subsequent games, though. So Quest for Glory 2 is a little different. Quest for Glory 3 is very different. Quest for Glory 4 is different if you're a magic user. I mean, it's different overall, but the biggest difference is here. And 5 is the same for all 3 of them. So I picked magic user. I picked the wrong one because I just happened to click wrong. So I'm going to hit start over, and we're going to go with the thief, because that's the one I know the most. That's the fastest. It seems to it has the least amount of RNG associated with it. So let's see here. What are you going to call it here? Let's call this guy. Was it Quacksire? No, what was it? Quackmire. That's it, Quackmire. That's what it was. I'll name it after a ducky family. Now, I'm going to put 40 into strength. You give me the sword of the stream. I gotta consider when the swords are given out. I don't give them out lightly. I have to earn swords. So strength has to be 40, and the reason it has to be 40, okay, it doesn't have to be, but this is 40 is the surefire number to make sure that we can pass all the strength checks for the game, and the rest is magic. And the reason I'm using magic is because it is the thing that breaks the game. Remember, this is any percent. This isn't like a pure any percent where I'm only using thief skills or anything like that. This is any percent. So anything that can be used to make things go faster is good. And magic is so much faster. It gets you through so many problems. You definitely will be happy here. So, all right. This is where we get started. And whenever I hit enter, you're going to have to work out your own flow if you decide to start running this category here. What I do immediately is I hit the F4 key because I'm running Heroes Quest version 1.0. And the 1.0 version has something that is it's only available in this, and it's called High Speed Hero. It was designed to... Oh, Silent Gamer, thank you. I appreciate the follow. it is designed to skip animation frames in order for older systems to be able to run it. Now, you can imagine with 16 glorious colors how powerful a system needed to be back in the day, back in 1989, whenever this game came out. I was 5. It's crazy to think how it's changed. But either way, we use 1.0 not only because of High Speed Hero, but because of another exploit, and we can metagame a password later on where I'll talk about that. So start here, and timing starts whenever we hit the start game button. Here we go. Oh, good to see you, Twinstrumental. 3, 2, 1, and I'm, like I said, since I'm not timing, go. First thing, I hit F4 to bring on High Speed Hero, and I just hit the plus button a bunch while I'm hitting enter to skip all of these dialogues. You need to skip the dialogues, and the first thing I do is make sure we're running, because running is definitely faster than walking. It's just the way it is. Now, here's one of the reasons the High Speed Hero is so temperamental to use. If I'm on High Speed Hero here, I can't get in the door. It doesn't matter if I walk up to it or not. There's nothing I can do against this. This door is completely barred to me. In fact, as far as I know, there's no way in High Speed Hero mode to actually make this work. So you have to hit F4 again to make it, to turn it off. And notice I can go through the door. We're going to buy the most broken spell in the game right here, right off the bat. Open. I'm already mistyping things. Open. Open is a spell that it will be used in all 5 games. Is there any reason? I think it's because it's skipping frames of animation. It's actually not jumping. It's not hitting the right triggers on. How do I want to say this? The character moves into certain geometries on the screen, and you can see them if you ever want to break out the SCI companion and decode the game and take a look at the way that the geometries are actually drawn on screen. But there's something about that animation that says, okay, well, we're not going to let you get within that geometry. So it prevents the door from opening because you just can't hit the right trigger. Nice. Good. Okay. As you read it, you're good. We have all the money that we need, so I'm just going to exit. And then you immediately go. It's a good time right away also, once you're through the door, to turn High Speed Hero back on. But since I'm not really rushing through this, I'm not going to do that. I use the mouse a lot to precisely get myself through certain areas. However, you'll also hear I use the keyboard also to move myself around. So, hey, Shankmeister. Oipen is the best spell. It is true, little g. Good. I click, you move. By the way, you can use the middle and left click buttons to maneuver your person, so it's a little more consistent that way. We're going to run directly to the Brigand's Fortress and finish the game. So what we do is we head down this way, and you see how fast things go. This is an area where you can get caught and whenever by monsters and random encounters. However, once you see this white stag, you're in a safe place. You're fine. You just head down from here. And this is the Antwerp. Whenever you bounce into them, you have a little bit of a struggle. Like you'll bounce back, but the game actually is set on a timer then, and you're able to just walk through it. So we want to get ourselves right into this crevice here in between, because if we're up here, it might not, the open spell we're going to cast might not work, or we might not be able to force the door, or the troll might not be able to hear our password. I'll talk about all this. So go through and notice how I'm able to just move through them. I like to use the diagonal arrows to use this. So since the last thing that I did was buy the open spell, I can now cast it, and you can actually insert pronouns into the parser, and it will read the last pronoun or last noun that you used. It keeps it in memory. So I'm going to cast it, use that. It can't actually open this door, but I have 40 strength, so I'm going to get rock. Now, why would I get rock? For some reason, that works on this door, so we're going to use it here. It's the least number of characters, and putting the least number of characters into the text parser is important. The more characters you type, the less, I mean, you're losing time with every single character here. So, as long as we don't land in Lake Stupid. No, we did not land in Lake Stupid. I'm very happy about that. This is the password to get you through, and this is another reason we use version 1.0. This is the a way to metagame. If you know the password, you can use the password. In version 1.2, which is what all the modern commercial releases use, so if you buy this on Good Old Games or if you buy this on Steam, you're going to have 1.2. There's only one category that uses that, and that's Fighter 100%, because combat is much faster, as I understand it. But either way, you can find, Google can show you a lot of things, but yeah, you can find version 1.0 pretty easily. And this is why we use this, because now I don't have to take a massive detour. What I would say is check out One Short Eye's video on the history of Quest for Glory 1 speedrunning. He goes through a lot of the details of the old routes and some of the oldest routes as well. Hi, Varus. Good to see you. Okay. So now that we've said the password, we're good. You can safety save and do what you need. What I use here, I put the game on High Speed Hero for this section, and I'm clicking right here on this. I can never tell if there's stalactites, stalagmites. I can never remember. So either way, you click right about here. Sometimes it works, other times it doesn't. Sometimes a little higher works, sometimes a little lower. There you go. You get down, and then you just press down and right, and you'll get yourself out of the situation. Now, what I'm going to do is something that's a little janky here. A drippy sweater vest, nice. I'm going to do something that's a little janky here. Normally you're supposed to have the calm spell, or you're supposed to fight the Minotaur, or you're supposed to climb over the wall. None of those are accessible to us. So we are going to play with the game's cycles to figure out, well, not the game cycles, but the internal cycles of the game here, to make sure that we can get past this Minotaur without running into problems. Now, he's going to start walking across the screen. If you're fast enough, once he's about here, you can start moving out, and hopefully you'll get to the door. So I'm going to cast open. I'm going to click on the bush right around here to make the hero move the bush, because we need Taro to see him. Moving the bush sets Taro on a timer, and it'll make it possible for me to make it past him for the door. Otherwise, I bump the bush. If I come out too far, he instantly kills me. So I'm going to move my mouse right about here just to make sure I'm ready for it. So pressing Control-C is the fastest way. Are we finding speedrun strats? Well, hopefully we'll find some. Control-C is the fastest way to use the open. You bring up the open spell in the parser. So I'm going to hit Control-C and cast open. And you hear the snick. And now I'm going to click the bush. What was that noise? Perfect. I'm going to wait for him to reach about here, and then I'm going to head out. And you got to be quick here. Oh, see what happens? Nah, bugger all. Alright, let's try that again. That should work. Now I'm in front of the door. I need to be able to open it, and the second you're done opening it, he might actually see me, but he'll move back and forth before I'm in combat. If I'm in the door transition, I'm safe. Open. I'm in. This is a room where you definitely want High Speed Hero on, though. I'm going to show you the fastest way through this. It is super easy if you're good at it. Let's see. Yes, that is the same Toro from 5. Oh, yeah. It's also the same Elsa, too. So, save. I'm going to press F4 to turn on High Speed Hero. I'm going to go right and up. For some reason, that skips the trip line, for the same reason that you can't get into Zara's shop at the beginning. It seems to skip certain areas on the screen, and this is one of the areas it skips, which is great, because normally you have to either move diagonally across the rope or type hop, which is what the game intends. However, there is a spot right here where you can click. Usually it's actually a pretty generous spot, so if you click right around here, you just walk directly to where you need to go, so you can hop and get through the door. Whenever you enter this area, High Speed Hero automatically turns off, so you don't have to worry about hitting F4 or anything like that. This is just a matter of learning the timing. Bar the door, that's the fastest way to close the door. I think you can also close door, you can do a couple things, but this is the shortest number of words and letters that you use. Close and bar the door. You want to start moving up through this, and I use the diagonal arrows for this. Use the chair. If I hit space, I bring up. Some people use F3. I use the space bar because I can immediately hit the space bar again. And this is something that's called noun stacking. Noun stacking is something that Sierra parsers use for their just the benefit of things. It will read the first verb that you have in here and then the last noun in the stack. So you don't have to worry about erasing the word chair or typing the word use again. You just start typing the word candle after you bring the parser back up, and your character will automatically move over to this place. Whoop. A little farther than I'd like to be. In order to hop on this desk, in fact, I'm a little worried right now. In order to hop on this desk, you want to make sure that this guy is right about here. Now, if I was over here, I'd be a little safer if I started to hop right around here, but because he's right here, I'm gonna actually, wait a second. There, that should be good. Yeah, there we go. And you can start spamming the O key in order to open the door. You do not need to wait for the chandelier to fall in this version. If you're in the VGA version, you have to wait for the chandelier to fall or else you die. All right. Oh, gosh. That's I hate spam bots. So I'm sorry, I gotta submit this report. Hopefully somebody with a sword will be able to take them out. If they haven't already. Hopefully that'll take care of it, though. Okay, I'm going to open the door, and it should automatically take me in. This is one of the other weird parts of this this game, and I'm going to show you the fastest way to get through it. It's a little janky. There's a couple ways that we could do it, too. There's actually a few glitches here that we're not using because they're just not consistent enough. So, first thing I'm going to do is just keep spamming the enter key to get through all this dialogue. Now, there's a way that you can get him to disappear. This is Yorick. He is going to throw things at you and cause problems. If you don't want him throwing anything at you, just cast something. Just hit cast and enter, and he'll disappear. He will see you casting something, and he'll just duck away. But for speedrunning's sake, that takes a little bit longer. I'll show it to you because it's interesting, but Control-C, cast, and he's gone. So, now I'm going to just move up. As you're rolling, there's a couple things you could do. Most people will type stop. You could also type rob for some reason, because we think it has to do with grabbing something. N works. N is the least numbers of keystrokes, so N stops you. I use the arrow keys here. I think it's way easier, at least for the first part, but I can also teach you some arrow keys to get through here, because this is how I had to use the arrow keys to get through this room blindfolded. So, good place to save. Right through here. And you're just going to pull through here. And I like to use gallops if I'm going to use the keystroke, so it's like a little, if I can do the, let's see. And that'll get you through the door, or you can use the mouse to click yourself up and through. It's a very weird area. Fastest way to get through this door, open it, and whenever I'm done pressing open, I gotta get out of the way real quick. I'm literally just going to hit left and up. And for some reason that works. Now I'm going to hit right and space, so it brings the open back up, and we're good to go. This is the best glitch in the game. This is the Wesley glitch. This is the one that makes me, my little boy found this one. I'm always excited about this. You can do a couple things here. The first way it was done was you can throw a dagger, and that unlocks your character. Our goal is to get out of this room. The other thing you can do is cast a spell. Casting a spell is faster. And I recommend hitting Control-C a bunch of times, and you'll start to learn the rhythm as you learn this. So I'm moving my mouse right over here on the chest, because when you click here, it sets the hero up correctly for this little sliver of a spot that you've got to get through. And this was found by One Short Eye. So I'm going to cast open, and then run through the right, and you're done the first game. Now we play the waiting game. And no idea how many words you were actually typing in these speedruns. The fewest number possible. That tends to be the way I look at it. And this is a full collection walkthrough for the any percent. You should have enough time. Should have enough time. Especially because 5 is so short. By the way, that can be done. I mean, my record for that is 59 seconds. You can actually legitimately beat the game without any major skips in under 4 minutes. That's been done. Yeah, all 45 seconds of part 5 is pretty good, actually. It's a little under, the record's a little under 5 minutes. So just a hair under 5 minutes. And I don't think I'll get anywhere close to that, but I mean, because I'm going to be taking my time to get through things. This grows on you. I know some people that really don't like the 16-color EGA. I know some people that exclusively play this version and swear by it. The Quest for Glory fans can, they tend to they love each other. We can be a little toxic back and forth, but by and large, they do get along. And I stayed away from the EGA version for a long time. This version here, and I will say this is one of my favorite games now, like my favorite versions of it. It grows on you. The more you play it, the more you get comfortable with the engine, the more it stops being intimidating having to type all the time. Yeah, this game, I've only done that one time with 59 seconds. I've hit 1 minute a number of times, though. Yeah, typing's great. Same thing with Quest for Glory 2. Now, that's one of the things I'll talk about also, is that there's two options for Quest for Glory 2. There is the original EGA, which is probably near and dear to my heart. However, it's not as fast as using the remake. Now, for collection runs, we allow players to use whatever they want. So if somebody can find a way to make the EGA faster, we want to use the fastest version, and that is the way the collection run works. There's options here. I'm showing you the way that I use, but I would love to see somebody break the VGA versions or the EGA version of 2. I would love to see that done. Another thing that I'm not going to show you is my batch system setup, because the transferring of files between the games can get a little screwy, and everybody's going to have their own system for that. So you need to copy your save file from one game to the next game in the best way possible. So yeah, I love them all now. I really do. I will be using the fan remake of Quest for Glory 2. It's done by AGDI. And if you just type in Quest for Glory 2 remake on Google, you can download it. It's completely free. They were given a limited license by which I believe was Activision at the time. They were able to secure a limited license as long as they were going to release the game for free. They had Activision's blessing to do it, and they did a fantastic job, to the point where it's actually faster than the original. Mainly because it can skip dialogue and also skip a very rough resting sequence. So the way my batch files are set up, I don't need to hit anything. All I need to do is just hit enter, and it'll export. You can actually export or quit out a little earlier here, but you'll see that it's done. And I have a batch file that's going to move things over to Quest for Glory 2. And that's where we're headed. Yes, our series is actually evolving all the time. So if somebody wants to do a official version only speed run, I mean, sure, go for it. Yeah. Import. There's my hero. And we're gonna go with Thief again. Quagmire continues. Oh, I actually had a really good magic gain on that one. Stat gaining is a little random. Sometimes you can come in and gain absolutely nothing at all. 13 is, I think, the best you can do. I'm going to pump everything into magic. It's going to continue to be awesome. So, saw the video on the first game. This is the first time seeing the second one. Nice. Okay, I'm going to click start, and the game gives you an option here. This is another good reason to play the remake, is that the alleyway system was their copyright protection in the original. It also added flavor to the game, I'll say that, but the simplified option just makes this so much easier to navigate. Not that we're going to have too much of a problem, because our route is really very simple. I'm going to have exactly, right down to the dinar, enough money. Maybe I'll have a couple pennies left over of money, but you have pretty much exactly what you need to finish. So I'm going to start. And I hold the escape button right away. Escape will skip all your dialogues. You want to get your skill sliders up for game speed and and your game skill down. Switch over to running, always good. You need to be careful with running, because it does drain stamina. Not so much running, but you need to keep an eye on your food also. I hold the escape key pretty much through the entire game. There's very little that I will let my finger off the escape key for, because it just skips every piece of dialogue. All right. Here you got to be a little careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exchange for 50. This is one of the things that was in the original game. There is a little bit of a difference with the way that if you exchange for more than 50 gold coins at a time, she takes a higher rate and you actually end up with less money. This will give you exactly enough. So 50. In exchange again, you do the rest of them. Then you're good to go. If you want to be super safe, this is a good time to train up. Make sure you don't hit yourself. You can kill yourself with spells, which is really funny. What we need to do now is do all of our shopping. Now, I right-click, and I use the text parser. There's a couple different things you could do. You can use the text parser and type in a lot of these commands. I like to use the menu commands like this. I forget the point-and-click interface, because you can press the number buttons to actually select it. So this is 1, this is 2. So I'll just hit my the mouth on myself and press 2, and and suddenly it brings this up, this interface for shopping up. I don't need to barter. I buy. Hold escape. You do need a little bit of food, or else you will run out of life. You'll see I have my own way of doing things. You'll see things. Now, this you do need the text parser on for. There is no menu tree that will bring you to the incense before day 6, or day 5, I'm sorry. But if you type in incense in here, you will learn about it, and then you are able to buy it. So I am actually going to buy a healing pill right away. And then I'm going to buy the incense, because you do. Healing pills are safe. They're much, much, much safer. You technically don't need them. I actually think it's faster to buy them, and it's faster for one place later on in the game, right after the fire room. It also saves you in the fire room too. Actually, you know, it probably is required for this one. Either way, you leave. I switch back over to the point-and-click interface, and we need to buy the map now that we have all the money that we need. Same thing again. You come over to this guy, press 2, enter, you're good. Control R brings up the map interface. You go up here, and we're going to buy the last thing that we need for now, which is a cloth bag. If you move your mouse right around here, it puts your mouse right about where the inn is, so you don't have to worry about too much. So, what I'm going to do now is rest till evening. This is this is night 1, then night 2. Now, this is something new that we've been doing. We've been training the Zap spell, and the reason we've been training Zap is because it gives you more power with your dagger, which is going to matter in the next game. So click the Zap spell, and if you just hold the F6 key, you'll spend all of your money. You're also training your magic skill, which means you'll have more magic for later. So this is night 3, night 4, night 5. If you're ever not sure what day it is, Control T will tell you what day it is. And now I've got a lot of extra magic skill. Yeah. This next player is the Fire Elemental. Things get a little hairy here, so I'm going to save. It's a great place to safety save. Run out. As you run out, this guy's going to stop you. He's going to give you a key. This is new for the remake. Now I need to get myself ready up here. You need to drop the incense and run straight north through the door right away. If the fire elemental hits me once, I'm pretty much dead. In fact, let me show that. Oh wow, I actually have a little bit more life than I thought I did. Okay, well you see though, I'm definitely not bulletproof. You can't hit tab in this one to bring up your inventory. Unfortunately, you have to click up here, but you can hit escape to exit your inventory. If your escape key ever gets jammed, hit the enter key, and that unjams it. Here we go. So I'm gonna hit escape, and I'm right about where I need to have this incense, and right up through the door. Notice he comes lunging for you. So you run out of incense right here, and what you want to do is drop the lamp. And whoop, grab the water. He gets a little closer. As long as you're clicking, you'll get him, and you have solved this problem. Now, we're not done for tonight. What we're going to do is we're going to use the warp and actually steal what we need for the next one. So This is one of the beautiful reasons for playing the remake, is that it gives you, even though I only bought open in the first game, it gives you the 5 core spells. This does not happen in the original EGI. You only end up with open and calm if you import. It gives you calm for some reason, which I think is very interesting. Probably because you do need calm to complete the game if you're a magic user. That's probably why they do it. Although not having Flame Dart is a soft lock also, so I'm not quite sure what I think they just missed that one. This is beautiful also because we get the Zap spell, and if for some reason I didn't have open, I would have it now. So I'm going to cast Fetch. You don't have a ton of time here, but you got enough, and I'm going to steal the Bellows up here. Fastest way to get them. Moving my mouse down to where I need to go. Catta's Tail in. And I'm not going to train up my mana anymore. I'm going to rest until morning. This is day 7. We're going to go to day 9. 8. Yes, it is. I'm going to be massively underleveled until game 4. Whenever you hit game 4, you get a bump in all of your stats. Quest for Glory 5 is not meant to be played as weak as we are. So this is day 9. Good place for a safety save. Let me just double check that. Yep, day 9. Good. Leaving, and I'm going to head up to this north plaza of the North Fountain. I tend to hit enter every once in a while just to make sure I clear things out. You need to go a little quickly here, because if you're quick, he's only going to do certain animations at certain times. Now, notice I have 90 dinar. We are going to buy this. So we're going to buy Levitate, Force Bolt, Trigger, and Dazzle, which will equal exactly 90 dinar. So we'll have a little bit of money left over. But I'm going to hit enter and hold the escape key. If I did this right, he should only do that animation. If you do it quickly enough, he only does the animation once. And then you got to click on him, and I'm going to press 2 and then hold the 1 key, which gives me the last pot of dirt that I need for this next section. So then we're done. We're actually done buying everything that we need for the entire game. We're going to teleport down to the Plaza of the Palace. We're going to use that Levitate spell that we just used, or just bought. I'm going to grab the dirt pile, wait for him to move over here. If he gets underneath you, you're not going to be able to reach him. So what I recommend is just hitting the up arrow there. And sooner or later, there you go, you drop some dirt in the funnel. I grab the bellows before I come down. I hit escape, down arrow, and just click away. You get the bad guy. Air Elemental done. This is also a good place to do some extra training if you didn't earlier. More than enough mana. Notice I'm zapping the exact same place that I want to teleport myself, where I want my mouse to teleport quickly. We're done that, so we're going to rest until day 13. 10. 11. 12. Yeah, exactly. 13. Day 13 is the last day that you can rest too before you die. Watch, if I rest one more day. Dead. Because Rocky is out in the city, and Rocky is a punk. I don't like Rocky. I mean, I like the Rocky movies. I'm a Philly guy. By the way, you don't want to get this animation. There's no way to skip it. So make sure you count your days. There's a reason I count out loud the days, because it's very easy to skip them. You don't want to do that. Alright, city is destroyed. Good. Good. In the EGA version, we can actually skip the elementals, which is interesting. Now, notice I'm still hitting escape. Now it's time to teleport over to the apothecary. I am going to click him to move myself over. And if you click the mouth on yourself and then turn on tell about air elemental, just hold the 3 button. You'll get the right information that you need, or the item that you need, which is the burning powder, and then you could just leave. Now, this is the fastest way that I know of to get to the fire elemental. He only shows up at corners and entrances. So, I'm going to come down here, and he showed up right away. This is RNG. He does not always show up right away. I'm going to grab Flame Dart, because Flame is pretty much the only way that you can weaken to kill him. I'm going to click and then immediately start holding the Enter key to make sure that I'm casting it on him. And once I'm in combat, I'm actually going to use a special ability. Because he was low enough in health, if you hold the Q button as a thief whenever you're in combat, once you get the burning powder, you can do what's basically a kamikaze attack. You throw the burning powder at him. He gets hit by it. He takes a ton of damage, and if his health is higher, he'll run away, and you'll have to find him again and then do it again. Luckily, he doesn't really regenerate health. But if you take a step back and if his health is low enough, you just hold your finger on the Q key. You can throw again, and it's called the quick kill. There's actually a quicker kill where you only throw it one time and kill him with it, but it's a little random as to whether or not. Yes, the enter key constantly clicks. Let's see. We need to grab the bag here and pick up the elemental, and now we're done. Day 13. But we're only going to rest one day. We're going to day 14 now. Because the water elemental's there. So I'm going to head out. And there's called a one cycle for this. But really, it's hard to screw this one up. All you do is put the... click pretty much anywhere with a water skin on the ground. He puts it down. I immediately click back in here and grab the bellows, click it here, and okay, I did get the one cycle. Not a big deal. Only saves a second or two. You've done that. You've saved the city forever. And now I'm literally just going to rest until it's time to leave. Didn't you hear the sword yet? You keep working at it. Keep working at it. I'm not saying no. I do have a problem giving... I do have a... Giving miners an edged weapon doesn't sound like the smartest thing. So, again, they come in here. This is a little different from the EGA version. But if you just hold the escape key, you will skip a lot of this dialogue. It's just nice. You can't skip it as quickly in the original version. And dialogue skipping is one of the big ways that we save a lot of time here. Not in this game. What if I told you I'm Nick? Well then, yeah, I would definitely say, I'm not sure even a edged weapon as an adult would be wise. Anyway, hold the escape key. You can't skip this cutscene. If we ever find a way to skip this cutscene, I'll be very, very happy. Is there any movement area where the enter key is used? Rather, not the enter key that I can think of. However, in Quest for Glory 1 VGA and 1 VGA and 3, I do use the arrow keys to move around, and I'll show that a little bit. Actually, not so much in 3 anymore. It's old tech. There's new ways around it, so we don't really have to worry about it. Hey, ATM, good to see you. I keep my mouse right about here in the middle because that's where my hero is going to be whenever I finally regain control. Because the first thing I'm going to do is click the mouth on myself and hit one key very quickly to make sure that I can get through this dialogue here. Now, you want to rest here. Oops. If you can do it right, rest. You get an hour's rest. That is new to the VGA. You can't rest pretty much anywhere. Now, you can... I switch over to run now also. However... if you click right here along the door, right about here, there is like a 1 pixel wide teleport window here where instead of running to the door, I'll just teleport inside. Okay, it did not work. I want to show that off though. Let me see here. Yeah, not there. It should be. No, it's not working there. Yeah, see right there, it was a little higher. You just teleport inside rather than running to open the door. We don't know why. We think it's the only door in the game that does that. Alright, so let's see. You want to click the hand to sit down with this guy. You want low vitality for this because you do a skill check here. Depending on what you get here, certain amounts of time will pass. You want low vitality because you want to fail the skill check, which means more time passes, which means you get to night sooner. So, coffee has less dialogue boxes. Be very careful right-clicking this cup to drink it, because if you click anywhere else, it's an instant GG. Your game is over. It's awful. But if you click it, I mean, it's just like needlessly precise. But if you click it, just hold the escape key. You don't need to wait, funny enough, for this guy to talk. You just get up now. And now you can run to the door. You sleep till the next night, and we're going to leave. The triggers to continue this are up in this area. You want to get to this section of the game, straight up ahead. Watch our poor water cellar buddy get yeeted away. And you're going to run back here, and that triggers this person showing up here. Now, we have everything we need. There's two ways through this room. You can either give everything... I mean, you have to give everything here. So we're going to give her our clothes. Yeah, last invitation, Peter Lorre. And you're going to give her the visa. Now, there's two different ways I can handle this room here. One of them is very simple. I just stand still. I mean, you just stay in this room. Hold the escape key. After about 5 to 10 seconds, she talks, and then after another couple seconds, the guards come in and they haul you off to prison. That is a very safe way to do things. It's also not the fastest. The fastest is to click out, run all the way back to the inn, hopefully getting the teleport while you're at it. Move yourself into this little pit, over into the door area, click the rest key, and you will get hauled off to prison just a little faster. I think it's a little faster. It's right on the nose either way, but waiting is a perfectly acceptable strategy too. So, all right. There's a couple different ways out of this room. This is also why we have the open spell. As I said, it's broken. Open. Click. Use the eye on the mortar. Since you're right there, you get your equipment, and you just click on the door. You're good to go. Down, left. And we are off to the Forbidden City because our buddy out of East shows up. Going to use the mirror here. Again, holding the escape key skips a lot of the cutscenes and the walking animations and puts you where you need to be. So you gain control faster, you move through the game sooner. I keep my mouse up here also because your character in the next room actually skips some walking animation out of the doorway here if you're immediately ready. So you got to grab the lamp, use it. Now, here is one of the tough places. You can get what's called a one cycle on the log in the next room, where you jump across the log. Is really frustrating part of the game for a lot of people. In the EGA, it's really nice. We just literally Jesus walk across the water. It's kind of neat that I found that one like 30 minutes before I did a marathon, which was kind of cool. And well, anyway, if you are fast enough here, you can actually get the log in one cycle, which is the ideal. But it's also really panic-striking. It's actually not a super tight window. See? But you still die if you're not careful. I'm actually a little surprised I died there. So. Okay, once you're across, open on the rocks. That gets you up. Since you've already got the open spell ready. This area is much nicer. This is probably the biggest troll area of the game, and you're just going to want to practice this. I mean, I know how to get through it basically just off of doing it enough times. It used to kill me a lot. A lot of my runs used to end in this fire room up here, and now it doesn't anymore. So, through. Well, that's a good way to die. If you get hit by fire, you're pretty much dead. You just go through this way. You want to stop right about here because the fire spits up. The room is on a timer, and the fire will always spit up at the same places. It looks random. It's not. It's on a cycle. So you want to stop here so that way you don't get scorched. It's also a good time to get your thing out and use a pill. Heal yourself. Switch back over to running, down, and I use the right arrows. I should be okay there, yeah. If you use 2 more healing pills there, which will use them all, that will bring you back up to full life. And rather than casting Levitate to get down, it's faster to fall. That's why I think it's faster. Fastest name for the name of power whenever you walk to the door is Daoud. You can also type in Suleiman and a couple others, but Daoud is the fastest. Just click here, then click your hand on the door. Everything goes on autopilot. This area is actually really fast once you get going. Hey, David. David speedruns pretty much every category. Speaking of Daoud, yeah. Daoud. Now you want to come down here to see the flashing in the darkness. Now the wishes that we make are speedrun specific. So what I'm going to do is bring up the wish catalog, and you can ruin your runs here very easily. You're going to want to use number 2 and number 6. So wish 2 for intelligence, and then 6. And I like to line up my mouse so that way I'm ready to teleport to a bliss right after that, because you need to use your last wish to teleport. Remember, I've already used... I have quite a bit of health, so I should be okay. But I'm using intelligence and magic to increase my magic points. So, teleport to a bliss. Hold the escape key. You skip all the cutscenes. And what we're going to do now is I think the fastest strats here. There are some backup strats. God forbid things go wrong here, but running here is important. You just hit left and then up through this area. You want to line yourself up pretty well with that column, but it's a little forgiving. You can levitate up and then to the left. Now, what I'm going to do is show you the other way through this. If for some reason you're caught, you can come up here and use the dazzle spell. That will solve the guards getting a little rowdy with you. Cast the open spell on the door, and then you can run in, and it does the same thing. Either way, you're going to make it through fine. So if they ever catch you, cast dazzle. If you're following my strats, technically you don't need dazzle. I find it to be helpful. This area, we are going to use a strategy that is VGA only. There's a couple possibilities that we could use. The calm spell. Actually, let me... calm spell is one of them. If you cast calm, he will immediately run out of the door. However, if you jump down, the game crashes, if I remember correct. Let's see. Game crashed. Nice. That's why I safety saved. Yes, this is VGA only. The calm spell is not VGA only. What I'm going to do is VGA only. So, whenever he comes right here, whenever he stops, I'm going to click the hand pretty much anywhere. And I'm going to do... Oh, that was not good. I guess it's actually here. There we go. If you click the hand on the ground, he jumps off and you kill Kaveen and you get down in the same thing. So what we're going to do now is cast the open spell here and run up through the door. We're in the last area. Just hold the escape key, run over here, and cast Force Bolt on the brazier there, and you win. That's the fastest way to do it. Hey, Retro. Yes, that's a Jinn ring. Pretty useless item. I'm actually still continuing to hold the escape key because, again, that is a way that you can skip the dialogues in the end and get through things faster. In fact, sometimes the dialogue boxes don't even look like they appear, and it's just like they're awkwardly staring at each other, which is really funny. Hopefully that'll happen here in a second. See? Pretty much awkward staring. Can anyone speak to the heroics of this person? She steps forward. Looks like she says, nope. And walks away because I'm holding the escape key. It skips the dialogue boxes. No one else has met me, and I think that this is a nice touch of the VGA, is that in the EGA version, you still have one more person who talks for you. It is the Amir, who is your little Saurus friend, who we don't have, which is kind of interesting. Quagmire has continued its way out. Look at the magic now. Because we did the 2 wishes, we've got 96 intelligence and 116 magic. We're going to end up with more after this, but hold escape. It brings up the dialogue box for the save. 0 is what I enter, so that way it gets to the top of the list on the imports of the next game. And if you just hold the escape key, then it automatically quits out also, which I love. I'm going to transfer my game over, my save, and now we are heading into Quest for Glory 3. Yes, tutorial time. I appreciate that. By the way, One Short Eye, I gave another shout out for your history of Quest for Glory 1 speedrunning. I'm going to import the character. This game has seen quite a bit of change in the last year. Actually, the last 6 months, I would say. Welcome to Tarna. Thief. Make sure you click Thief. Quagmire is continuing. I use the right arrows and the right click to dump all my points into magic even faster. 166 is more than enough. Technically, you can do it with 150, even less now. So, yeah, I'm hoping so. Yes, I will be saving this to YouTube also. This is going to get exported, so. Click Start, and just start right-clicking. Now, different Quest for Glory games have different ways of skipping dialogue. In 2, we use the escape key. In 4, we use the escape key. In 3, you have to use the right-click button. I think they were still getting used to the interface. Same thing with 1 VGA. You're going to use the right-click for everything. Oh, this game series is wonderful. All right. I'd like to do my run over this way. And I'm going to show you bed tech. This is a new tech that is in the game. I'm going to do a Night 1 safety save here. So that way I can also show you an alternative way through this. You put your hand on the bed. We're going to rest for 60 minutes. And then after that, you can actually just use the escape key to continue to rest. And you want to give it a little bit of a wait in between. You can be a little impatient, but because of the speed of the systems, you're waiting for sleep until morning to show up. I'm going to try here to get what we call bed tech. This is one of the fastest ways to get through it. I think it might be the fastest way also. But we also get another skip if we do this right. There's a second level of bed tech that's done here. I'm going to do a quick safety save here for the automatic save. And I'll go back and I'll show you the other way too. Both ways are fast. 60 minutes. We do it, I think, 8 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'm going to come up here, rest. It did not work because I was too impatient to rest. And I'm going to just I'm going to hold the enter key and hopefully get this through. Nope, it did not work. 1. Oh, I don't think it's going to work now. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. Oh, looks like that's the next one. I like to give myself a little bit of room here, because then what you want to do is click on there, 60 minutes. Yep. You open the chest, and as you're running back, your character running back to sleep through the night, your character instead runs back to open up the chest. Now, normally you can't leave here. You'll see this. Can't leave here. But if you jump on the pillow, jump up, and go away, now you're at, and you've skipped in the entire day-night cycle, resting through the night. Yeah, I can never remember this, so I'm going to show you the other way through this, an old tech way. It's still a fine tech way. There's nothing wrong with this. Instead of going to bed, you're going to run away immediately. Time on the savannah here goes very, very quickly. The problem is that you can also get into RNG encounters, and that's not good. The less RNG encounters, the better. By the way, your detail should be set to low. That will make you go faster. However, one of the things that you can do is you can use the arrow keys to move, and you can actually run off-screen. If you are off-screen, you will... Oop, that's one of the dangers of it, though. If you're off-screen, you will not get into encounters. For some reason, you're okay there. On the problem side, as Crow points out, even though he says plus sides, you can encounter this guy. He's RNG as far as we know. He actually shows up, it seems to be about 50% of the time, if not more. You just say goodbye to him, and he goes away. And then you're able to sleep through the night without a problem. Interesting glitch that you can do. You can actually go up to the top here immediately and sleep through the night again, but it does not help you advance time. So since I'm right next to the side of the door, I'm actually going to go back. I'm going to press right and run off screen. Occasionally you get into something like that, but it doesn't actually have any encounter in it. So I just keep hitting left and right. Not super fast, not super slow. And what I'm doing is, because my character is moving off screen, time is moving also. So sooner or later, there's going to be a pop-up that's going to come up here. You don't want to be late for your meeting. You go back to bed. It's faster to do bed tech. Bed tech has got to be faster. Yeah, I have to say, I agree with Lemming. Yep. I just recommend right-clicking in the middle here. Get through. Doesn't matter if you swear the oath or not. Now, don't click anything here. You want to right-click through the dialogue just once, and then just click the eye on yourself a bunch of times, and that will get you through this much faster. There's a couple different ways that you can do what's called DDD, which is the big mega skip of this game. Once the screen transition happens, and you hear that little ding, run your mouse all the way up to the top. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You can rest and set up camp, and it actually breaks the script, so that normally you're traveling with Rakesh to the Simbani village. Well, instead, we're going to take control of the caravan and glitch the game out. I recommend coming over here to the movement icon and just like double click on it. Just double left click on it, because you take control pretty consistently. In fact, I don't think I've ever really said that, so. Silly clowns are card. Oh. And you want to just run across. Now, the reason... What's happening here is that we're setting the game's flags, and you're set in a follow state. Well, once we hit the fourth screen, that follow state is going to trigger the end game events, which is lovely because it means that we can cut out like 20 minutes of this game. Actually, I guess it's more like 15 minutes now or something like that. It's a ton of time. That's why this is very any percent. And now we're following the monkey because the game thinks that we're still following someone. He is going to take us to the monkey village, and because we're a thief, we can climb. Thank God. We're going to right-click on the tree, climb up. You want to talk to him once. Doesn't matter what you talk to him about. And then you're going to convince him. You got to talk to him 4 times. Convince, persuade, argue, and beg. You get out of the village. Yes, I would. Maybe I'll do a special tutorial on the highly questionable any percent sometime. That is... I need to revisit that, because that time can come down now. This waterfall is a little weird. You can see it almost like auto-saving or something like that with why it lags here. I think that's what's going on. Anyway, you run over this way. You definitely want to set yourself back to running. Otherwise, you do this weird jiggle walk over there, and it takes a long time. So you want to run, and you're just going to grab the grapnel and click it on the other side. As the thief, he throws it over. Notice there's a rope. We never bought the rope. The game assumes that you have the rope, which is wonderful. You recover the rope and grapnel. What rope? Put them in. This is the... this is a forced encounter. You can't dodge this one. However, we can skip it very easily. We're going to cast the levitate spell. Press down, come off of it, and then immediately run away. It cancels the encounter. Another thing you could do is you could use the right and left arrow keys. You could run off screen, and once you are off screen, the game cancels the encounter the moment the monster would show up on screen. You got to be a little careful here in this place. So, say goodbye. You don't need to talk about honor. You don't need to talk about anything fun here. By the way, all the dialogues in these games are just absolutely fantastic. All the dialogue is. I'm going to run over to the middle area there, and we need a gem that is in this thing's eye. So we're going to grab the fetch spell that we got, I'm going to right-click and immediately bring up the eye and put the gem in it and then run through the door. You only have a certain amount of time before a caveman shows up. You don't want a caveman here. We're going to skip this encounter because it's faster. We're going to cast the calm spell, and now they're tired. Cast the open spell. As I said, it's broken. Hand, you don't need to sneak, you don't need to oil, you don't need to lockpick. You're through. This is Mike Tyson. What I like to do for Mike Tyson is grab my mana pill, drink it, and then click the hand on him. And the fastest tech was just discovered a little while ago, and I'm very happy about this one. I'm going to safety save here. What you need to do is very quickly alternate. So I'm going to click magic, fire, zap, and then click the center. Fireball, zap, center. Fireball, zap, center. Fireball, zap, center. Flame dart, zap, center. And for some reason, it actually allows you to connect with the zap spell, and if you wait long enough, you can actually get the flame dart to connect also. But because our zap spell's so fast, this guy just goes down so quickly. It is one of the easiest strategies now. This guy used to be run killer, and now he's just a pushover. Yes, I remember when that fight would ruin my runs. It was just so simple. You just flame dart, zap, center. Flame dart, zap, center. You'll work up a rhythm really too. It's not hard tech to learn. You can't go super fast, but even if you do, you're probably okay. I bet you there's a fighter way to do it. Yes, exactly. If you go too fast, sometimes it doesn't connect, but it really is. It's pretty easy tech to learn. Yes, current world record does use that strat. Alright, you're going to right-click. There's nothing we can do here. This is all cutscenes. However, because remember, my stats are super low for Quest for Glory 3. You mean a new character starts with much higher stats than what I've imported with. I'm just going to stand still. Now, what I should do is turn the skill slider all the way up, because that will make this next combat go a little bit faster. He's going to try to shoot me. Or he's going to try to stab me, and because my stats are so low, the game thinks I'm almost dead, and it just moves me through to the next scene very quickly. So, he stabs. We're done. Now, I'm going to move my mouse right here and just start clicking like crazy. Tends to be right about here it works. What we're doing is setting up a walk outside of the glitch. Now, if it doesn't work, that's okay. What you want to do is, you get an autosave here, and you just click right up alongside this wall. And notice he stopped. I'm now going to keep my mouse up this way, and now we are running off screen. You move right to about where the end game is, and just click the grapnel there. That skips having to buy the rope, and also having to climb up here, and then flip over here, and then flip over here. It's all huge time save. Yeah, the skill slider is... Yes, believe it or not, we're walking on air. Quagmire is now headed to Shadows of Darkness. There might be a fighter way to do it too. I mean, you don't get spells with the fighter, but if there's a fighter way to manipulate combat, I am all about finding that. I should look. I think if anybody would have found it, it would have been David already, but... Okay. Notice our stats are really low. It's not going to matter. We're going to about to get a huge bump here. So I just keep hitting enter, save to Quest for Glory 3, and the way my batch files are set up, it automatically takes me over to Quest for Glory 4 whenever I hit quit. This is the longest game. We really don't have a mega skip for it. Import, Quest for Glory 3, and Thief. Continue, no problem. I'm going to put everything once again into magic. It's a little less dire in this one, so what I'm going to do is actually add a little bit of vitality, which will help with combat just in case. Just a little bit. In fact, I'm going to take it down to 246. You should be okay there. But if you throw everything into Magic, you're probably not going to notice any difference. I'm at the point where I'm starting to tweak a lot of these things. Click Start, hold the Escape key. If you press the plus button on your numpad, it will up your speed to the max. I like to do that as I like to press the up button as I'm moving to the first object there. Control C will bring up the system dialog here, so I can turn my skill down and my detail slider down. Notice speed is already all the way up because I hit the plus button on the numpad once. I grab these first two here. Some other people do it a little differently. Some people will cast Flame Dart. I find it easier to not manipulate the menus, because menuing is the way that you will lose your most time in this. Once you grab the torch, you're going to start moving towards the door, and then once you start moving, you're going to switch over to run. We don't need anything in here. We're just going to continue to move through. Now here is, in this next room, not this one, the next screen, is one of the major finds of this series, or of this game. I'm going to just keep the hand on the hand icon. You can click, and I'm going to exit. And then I'm going to move my hand right here. And what that's... Whenever we do the transition to the next screen, I'm going to hit Shift and W, which actually uses a debug code that was left in the game. It's like a debug super key that it only works in that room and 2 other rooms of the game, but even then it doesn't quite work right. This is the only one that really affects. No, there is one other room that we'll do that with, and we use another skip for it. But either way, Shift W will make your character cast the fetch spell, regardless of whether they actually have magic. They'll cast the fetch spell. And we want that fetch spell to cancel immediately, so that way we end up breaking the scripts that control space and time, pretty much. And we only want to do it for a little bit, so... but we want to manipulate it because it speeds up, this cutscene that I'm heading into, and also I'm going to rest a little bit, and it's going to actually let us start on day 2 rather than day 1. What we're really going to do is get to day 5, but it's going to take us a little while. So we do some things in between. Here we go. Over here, click hand, move myself over, Shift W.
Didn't manage to fetch anything.
Notice fetch spell cast. I'm going to grab this to run immediately back over. We're going to leave Katrina there, which most people have never seen before. And now time will not move until I hit certain areas that actually trigger the time event of the game. While I'm running to town now, because you still want to get to town, I'm going to rest for 60 minutes. Rest for 60 minutes. Rest for 60 minutes. And by the way, once you rest for 60 minutes, what I do is I actually click rest, and once this dialog comes up, I hit escape twice, and it skip, and that will also rest for 60 minutes. So if I click here, it doesn't matter where I'm at. Escape, escape. It's a faster way to rest consistently. It takes a little while to get down a good rhythm, though. We're going to head up here. My climbing skill is not fast enough, or high enough, so I'm going to levitate in. And the reason I rested 4 times is because that is the minimum number you need to skip to day 2. If I were to rest here before 4 sleeps, or 4 60-minute rests, I would start on day 1, and then I would have to do a whole nother cycle. Very annoying. Okay, we need to do some purchasing. We have more than enough money to buy everything we need in the game. Oh, forgot to do something. Not a big deal. I'll catch it on the way. You're going to buy the equipment. You're going to buy 3 garlic. A candy. A pie pan. And I buy trail rations down to about 150 to 1. You don't want to completely drain all your money, because there's something that can happen at the inn that is a little annoying. So 96 kopecks is perfectly fine. Now, you count up to 8. Yeah, 8 seems to be good. You just don't want to have like random dialogues telling you that you're famished. You need to walk into the Burgomeister's office. Now, you don't need to, but this will prevent a glitch from happening later on in the game. Just 2 garlics for the thief? Yeah, it could be 2 garlics for the thief. I think you're right. Maybe I am using 3 randomly. Anyway, Let's see here. We need to come over to this place. We're going to talk to and greet the old man here. I'm actually going to use the question mark to skip a lot of the puzzles here. If you just keep skipping the question mark, you'll skip the puzzles. You don't get the points for a lot of it, but that's okay. This is any percent. We don't care about points. I'm going to open the door, open up the Antwerps, come over here, immediately use all the question marks in the world again. And if you... It's RNG whether or not the Antwerps come out right away. But if they do come out right away, then you can immediately run over to the door and start the puzzle here with the maze, which is a lot of fun. So I just skip it. It's actually a very nice puzzle. It's not as bad. You can actually do it pretty quick whenever you get good at it. But it's, I mean, no amount of puzzling is going to be faster than just clicking a bunch of times really quick. This was a very nice and very generous puzzle. Make yourself a door, keyhole, click through. We're at Dr. Cranium. We need to visit this guy 3 times. Magic, which gives us the glide spell, which will help us in the swamp. Empty flask, empty flask, empty flask. Nice. All right. Now we're leaving because we're gonna go all the way back down to the swamp. Oh, went the wrong way. First thing you want to do is head over to this side and grab a bone.
Pick up a single slimy bone
from the skull here. We do need that bone. So next I'm going to grab the glide spell here, cast it, and now I'm floating on this. This gets a little screwy. There's the swamp is a low point for a lot of people in this. I recommend heading over here to this little tuft of dirt here and then just spamming for about 22 times. 21 sometimes 23, but it's usually 22 to kill this thing. There you go. Now we need to come over here. You avoid combat that way too. And if you just click over here on the side, you skip this and you end up with your first ritual here. So next we're going to rest for 12 hours. And by the way, 12 hours ends up being right about where your magic ends up being full again. So 1, 2, 3. Be careful you do not click on the status screen. If you click on the status screen, you'll actually initiate combat. It's a glitch. And you'll end up in a fight with the Genovi wizard again. You do not want that. Obviously, the extra fights take extra time. Yep. Right about full magic. 1, 2, 3, and then to the right. And then if you use the candy right here, you can also use the fetch spell. It is way less accurate. I don't recommend it. I still haven't figured it out. But if you can do that, good on you. By the way, I'm using the middle click key to switch between the walking icon and my last item. It's a little bit of an optimization as you learn it and you go a little bit faster. It will definitely, the sooner you learn that, the faster you'll go. We're going to click here and start the puzzle. This is a little screwy. The way I do it is not, I believe not the optimal way. I believe you can just hit escape and skip the animation. So if I go, let's see if I can make this work. A, V, O, O, Z, L. Oh, it worked. Huh. Yeah, if you hit escape, you can actually skip a lot of those, skip a lot of the animations there. So I'm still not very good at it, because I think it could actually be done faster there. Otherwise, click on a letter and count a full second before moving to the next letter. Make sure your dial hits AVOOZL with a second in between, and you'll get this puzzle every time. This used to be one of those puzzles that would actually end up frustrating people. You'd see all sorts of forum posts on GOG and GOG and Steam and like, how do we do this? In fact, if you look through a lot of the old forums, you'll just see that some people thought it was impossible, that the speed bugs would prevent that from going. But as long as you wait a second, you'll be fine. We're going to grab some Grugu. I recommend emptying the rest of your flasks, or I should say filling up the rest of your flasks with it. You'll need all of them. We're going to head right here to cancel our encounters currently. That will reset the encounters in the forest. And now I'm going to go here, and we're going to talk to this ghost. We need to talk to her 3 times. We're going to tell her she's a ghost. Tell her she's a ghost. Now we're going to tell about ghost. And then we just need to meet her again, but sometimes we get an encounter here. We got lucky. We did not get an encounter. There's 2 things we can do. We can run up to the Wraith right above us and cancel the encounters, or we could YOLO strat this and hit left, and perfect. Monster showed up there. We're definitely going to be able to dodge everything. That's just a little bit faster there. We're going to head back to the town, head back to the staff, sleep until morning. Yes, 2 flasks of Grugu. If you got 3 empty flasks, one of them should have the will-o-wisps in it. And now you have an empty flask again. Since we've met the ghost, we're going to tell this old man about his ghost wife. We need his hat, so you can watch a walkthrough or playthrough normally. This is speedrun. We need that hat. It's the fastest way I know to get the hat. It's a shame we can't steal the hat by going into this guy's room over here. I would love to have an excuse in any literal percent, like any 100%. There's just no reason to go in there ever, so we miss a big area. What was that ghostly scream just now? That was the will-o-wisps, the souls of the missing children of the swamp dying in their... Yes, don't worry about it too much. The reason I skipped the question marks the first time is because I think it's faster to click those 3 the second time. So you skip the puzzle for the sake of being faster later. This is the second time we've met him, and we're actually going to meet him this 3rd time right away. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't really need to count. What I'm waiting for is for it to say you're getting tired. That is a cue that it is right before midnight, and if I rest one more time, the day counter ticks over, and I am able to immediately head into Dr. Cranium's office.
You're getting tired.
You're getting tired. One more rest, and it'll be the 3rd encounter here. This is where you'll need your trusty passwords, because you need to give the rehydration solution. Laxabiff is the slowest one. Earth, earth, water, earth, water. This is literally the slowest puzzle that you can possibly get out of the 26. Zasparil is the fastest. Yeah. Alright, hit escape, and then you give him the Grugu. If you give him the Grugu before, he doesn't give you the rehydration solution. I actually, right around here, begin to start bringing up and getting my item inventory on my cursor ready. You can use tab to bring up your inventory. You can use escape to cancel out of it. Use the rehydration solution right away. I'm going to use the Hector the Hexapod. We're going to feed him some garlic. And we click on the cask of Amontillado, which immediately puts us into a fever dream. It's a good place to get a water also. Great children. Thank children. Great game. You actually take a massive honor penalty for doing that. In fact, it's an unrecoverable honor penalty, because I believe it sets your honor to 0. And if you have 0 in any category, you can't gain more except under really rare certain circumstances. So for paladins, that's like awful. You lose honor, but it ain't 0. Oh, 0 is murdering the chief thief. I always get that wrong. Anyway, use your feet. Move out of this area. We've got everything we need. We're going to head to the inn and get a couple extra things here. Alright, levitate up. It's faster. You'll need to double click there for some reason. Gun down. Oh, did not have enough money to pay the innkeeper, so that was a mistake on my part. I brought my money too low. It'll cost a little time later. When you enter and exit again, the Domovoy should be here if you followed my route right. And you're going to talk to him twice. And that's going to set the triggers so you can get this doll out of here. And sleep till morning. Day 4 is very active. Very, very active. You want to exit the room before you begin to sleep the day away, because otherwise you will do a very annoying and very slow bed animation, which is awful. It's really bad. I also recommend counting to 12. I did not, because once you rest 12 times, you can sleep through the night again. Day 5 is where things begin to really pick up again also. I think that's right. Yeah, we're good. Yes, or regular dead. Okay, this is day 5. If you've entered the Burgermeister's office, these guys should be out here talking about how the Gravedigger is missing. We're going to go rescue him. It's going to be the one heroic thing you could do. You actually do not need to rescue him either. There is a way to complete the game without rescuing him. But I recommend queuing up the open spell here and getting it ready. Yes, that sounds about right, David. I would love to see it go sub 20. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, though. You need to head up back to town, and you need to see that the Davy was released from his prison cell. Dimitri needs to be here at the window. If you go inside, he'll be released, but the camp won't actually let you in. The triggers for this are very broken. I don't know why it's done that. Either way, we need to head all the way up to this camp. Sometimes you can get into an encounter here if you're unlucky, but we weren't. We're just going to hold the escape key and get ourselves through all these cutscenes. You do need to click the feet to move out of this area. So I recommend just clicking it over this way and then just go back to holding the escape key. Unless you count Paladin. I'm pretty sure Paladin's sub 25. For this category, 52 minutes or is it 53? I think it's 52:45. Yeah, that sounds right. 52:45 sounds right. Okay, we need to come in here one more time. So we need to go in, leave, and then come back in one more time.
I have had many
so she can see this dream, and we need to talk to her about Arana, Staff, and Destiny Spell. That will kill your runs if you don't do that. It is so annoying. Is it 53:02? Oh, I thought I crossed over into the 52 mark. Very disappointed in myself now. I like to get to this spot here. Sometimes you can get unlucky and get an encounter, but we're just going to rest until night. Another place that you can rest is right outside of the graveyard, which is the screen directly to your right. And if you rest there until night, you'll end up with a Wraith here, which will reset your encounters anyway. There's a reason, though, that I rest here, is because we need to go down to the next screen to see a cutscene, which is this. And as long as there's no encounters, you see this cutscene, which is great. And then I'm going to run up, reset my encounters with the Wraith, so that way I don't have to have any RNG encounters. Come back down here, click the hand, get the hat. I will also bring up my Force Bolt spell and get it ready. I'm going to move right here, Force Bolt this, fetch this. That can be a little weird also, that whole cycle, because if you don't do it right, I think that there's a glitch that can happen. You just don't want it to happen, so just take your time. It's alright. I know it's a speed run. You take your time. You're going to cast the Aura spell. Don't forget to cast the Aura spell. because we are going to fight a Wraith now. It's the only combat that we do in the game. If you... Now, by the way, I'm going to let this guy rail on me for a little bit. What you want to do is wait right here. Move your mouse over top of this guy and just press the down key and let go, and you will do the special attack on him. If you get close enough like you do there, what I recommend is stabbing him. Instead, I didn't. I'm a squib, so I'm going to just cast the Flame Dart spell. It's awful. That was a horrible fight. That can go way faster. Ow, I have a weird setup for my, I'm gonna save this autosave here, and I'm gonna show you how fast that can actually be if you do it right. Good. Oh, he hit me. I didn't expect that. I'm slamming the Z key also to cast the Zap spell. That was actually really good. You want to keep hitting the Z key and left clicking in order to get this, in order to stab him if you get that close. It can be done even faster than that. David is the real combat king as far as I'm concerned on this. We're going to head over to Baba Yaga now, which is in the lower right section of the forest. Use the trigger spell here. It's faster than the open spell, and it's faster than jumping. And get your hat out, because you're going to want this to begin clicking right on this bonehead here guy. I'm going to bring up the bones and use the bones in the mortar. Use the hand on it. No matter what you do, it will change your icon back to the eye, so there's no sense in trying to pre-jack anything here. Going to use the... I'm sorry, you're going to use a
fill the flask with powdery bone
flask in order to get the bone meal here. And then you are going to assemble your pie. Perfect. Yeah, they had a Sega Genesis with Street Fighter II Champions Edition on it with a 6-button controller. Alright, get the pie out. You actually skip a bunch of dialogue sequences if you have the pie already made, which is definitely wonderful. If you're a wizard, casting Reversal here will also prevent you from having to deal with the... will also prevent you from having to deal with the animations of turning into a hedgehog, but we don't have Reversal. A wizard would, though. So, Gnome's Humor and Something Different are what we're waiting here for. So, Gnome's Humor... You click the lips on yourself again, she teleports you out. You've handled this gnome that you've never met before. You now have the item to solve the problem. For some reason, the tab key does not work in here. So grab some garlic, extra garlic that you brought. And you're going to ask for the Dark One ritual. Ah, that's fair. Yeah, buying the extra garlic would prevent you from suffering a GG. And it's really not that much extra time. But having to run back in would be enough to pretty much kill a world record attempt there. Get the open spell. We're heading up to save ourselves a little girl. Open will get you into this area. Open will not get you through the next door, though. You do need to head down here and immediately just start left-clicking this section. You'll skip the puzzle. I then use the keys here, switch over to running. While you're moving, switching is a good way to... switching movement styles while you're running is usually an optimal strat. Because we're a thief, all these doors are locked, but this gives us an opportunity to train up the open spell, which is important. If we have less than 50 mana or magic heading into the open, or heading into the final part of the game, or the 5th game, the game will not import the spell correctly, so you need to have at least 50 in there. Luckily, all of our other skills came with that whenever we imported into Quest for Glory 2. Open was the only one that would not have that, but luckily it's very fast to train it up in this. Anyway, we're going to cast the Calm spell here, and this door will be unlocked, and it's faster to do the running up through here rather than opening up the menu and casting the open spell again. Skipping dialogues or just moving. This is the fastest way through the castle that we've found. I don't think that there is a faster way. Thief does, for 100%, have to take a different route through here in order to gain 100% points. You need to wait for this door to close. For some reason, the scripts are a little janky in this room, so if you try to cast open too soon, it'll tell you that you're busy doing something. This is the room where I just click a bunch of times to get the to make sure that I have enough open skill to not lose my spell for Quest for Glory 5, because you're hosed if you lose the open spell. It's very sad. We're going to give her the doll. That's why we got the doll earlier. And then we're going to tell her about the staff, which moves us into the... pretty much moves us into the endgame. Just hold the escape key. Skip all this dialogue. Nothing of the... This whole part isn't important. There's nothing important about this. Yes, that's true. There is a backup strat if you don't have open. Losing trigger would be horrible. If you're not proficient enough, and it's very interesting that 50 is the benchmark for it. I'm not sure why 50 is the benchmark, or why that's the minimum stat requirement. It just seems kind of... yeah. Okay. Now we're going to pay this guy. And I'm going to come up here and knock on the door and meet the gnome. There's no way that you can, as far as I know, give the learn the ultimate joke before meeting the gnome a second time. So we're actually going to rest in here for 12 hours to get ourselves ready. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've had it actually freeze on me there one time where you try to walk through the door at the same time as another script is firing, and it actually just completely soft locks the game. Now you give him the good humor bar, and you just leave, and you learn the ultimate spell. That is one of the key requirements for this note to appear, which is going to appear on the next morning. You need to know the ultimate spell, and you need to have finished the Tanya storyline. Interestingly enough, in the code, what it says is that that note will appear once you have teleported directly from Arana's staff to this room for a sleeping animation or something along those lines. That is whenever that flag is set, once you travel directly to this room from Arana's staff. Don't know why they did it that way, but they did. I think that that is a possible weak point in the system. So, all right, we are now at day 7. We are going to head out to meet the giver of that note. You do need to read the note. You cannot skip that note. I've tried that. I mean, sooner or later, you got to try things to find out whether or not it's the faster way to handle it. But and this is the last time we're resting until night, which is wonderful. I hate all the clicking. You just want to talk to them and hit Shift P here. While you're doing the transition, if you hit Shift P, this is another one of those rooms that has a debug code left into it. You'll cast the open spell. Regardless of whether or not you know the open spell, you'll cast it. You'll actually break the script. And now you can move around without a problem. Interestingly enough,
Yeah, the sound.
he is on the foreground here. You can actually walk behind him, and they even included what looks like this background here with him too, which I find very interesting. Click the hand. While you're clicking the hand, you're going to switch over to run, and then right-click back to hand. Fastest way through this room is to use the hand. Right-click and click the mouth. It will wake her up right away. Hold the escape key the whole time, and you're just trying to get through 2 dialogue boxes before you can agree to help her out. One will bring up a actual picture, or the first one won't bring up a picture, the second one will. While you're clicking around, you'll get used to that. It's a little interesting. But if you've done everything right, whenever you exit that area and then come back, you will now be dealing with the consequences of your efficiency. We are now heading back into the part at the beginning of the game, like the first area, which is frustrating that we can't break this any harder than we can. It's just right there. Just can't do it. You'd think that you have to handle this guy. You don't. The game will assume that you have. I recommend switching over to walk. You will use less stamina, or running. You will use less stamina whenever you walk across. Here's where things are a little more optimized. You want to use the torch on the center, and then you want to switch over to run.
You put the torch back.
Torch back in the sconce. You're already set up to use the Dark One's ritual.
You unroll the.
You use the rituals in the order that they appear, and then you jump your way out, and you're fine. This also just kind of ends up being a walkthrough for this game. There's some glitches that we use, but by and large, this is a pretty straightforward game. This area, I think because it was programmed first, actually resets you to walking quite often, so you want to learn which rooms switch you over to walking so you can switch to run, because if you start clicking around and start doing like weird actions, it's going to start it's going to give you problems. You're going to start slowly walking to things rather than running to them, and that is not speed. The fastest way to handle this is wonderful. You just use your hand right here. As long as you don't move and you just use the hand, you're fine. You actually get full points for solving it that way too. It is definitely not developer intended. That was a missed opportunity, because you do some other things where you break some blocks and you jump and do some flippy stuff. And here's another one. We're going to switch over to running. I am going to use this ritual, and you just got to learn it's the bottom right, bottom left, bottom center, upper center. Now for speed purposes, this clicking gets a little notice I can't click the center one here. I end up just clicking myself. So if you click over here towards the bottom, you move over just a little bit so that way you can click without having to switch your icons. Now the top center. Fastest way to handle this, click your hand on the door and just click once, and once you start moving, flying towards the screen, start left clicking. You'll get yourself out real quick. This is the best, fastest ritual room. Right click on the door, but bring up your inventory. Get the next ritual, and then just wait a second.
You feel
escape out, use the ritual right there, leave. Done. Right now I could cast Levitate and immediately head into the final room. It's actually faster to do the ritual here, hold the escape key, and then climb up. You're a thief. You can climb. It's faster. There's some speed strats here that I'm not even comfortable with. Ustra has them pretty much figured out. But I don't, so I'm not going to mess with them. If your throwing skill is high enough, you can throw rocks or a dagger at Atavis to kill him, which is interesting, to say the least. But it's pretty straightforward here. You actually tell the ultimate joke. Make sure you hit the plus button here, because your speed does decrease slightly. Take a look. Why is my speed down? I don't know. But if you hit the plus button, it'll actually bring it back up to full. Bring up your staff and do your jumpy bits. Plunging attack. Yep, a little bit. Right click and bring up the staff icon. If you click the staff on it, you immediately flip back up. You don't have to do the separate flip. And we're heading to Quest for Glory 5. I think we all have like a collective knowledge that, like we probably all have something that we add to the series that we don't realize we do.
If you have not already done.
Got to be careful holding the escape key here. You definitely want to save to shadows.
The save character.
Close out of the game. Now, my screen capture gets a little screwy here. I'm going to transfer my game over to Quest for Glory 5, but I've already got Quest for Glory 5 loaded in the background. One of the hardest things you can do in this game, whenever you're streaming this and recording this, is getting Quest for Glory 5 to capture. Screen capture is like the only way I can think to do it. And I've only successfully consistent way. Import. Shadows. Notice I got 150 points. That's why I like to keep my magic a little bit lower, so that way I don't have to switch over to another stat here. But Quagmire is about to enter into the final game, and it is going to be a lot faster than the other than Quest for Glory 1. This is definitely one of the fastest, but it has a lot going on. I recommend rebinding your keys to something you're familiar with. I actually switch my characters, or my keybinds for this, over to WASD. And I use the X key to switch to stealth. I use set Z to open up my magic window. And that's pretty much it once I have those. But do something that's comfortable for you, because you want to be fast, because there's a lot of hotkeys in this. And the system is definitely just a little bit different. So enter. Hold the space bar. You're going to go straight into danger. I hold the Z key now because that's my spell keybind. Brings up the magic right away, and I immediately set all of my spells to where they need to go. I tend to do it in this order just because I'm used to it. You can get random locations here. It's not always the same. And you start running. If you cast the open spell there, you can aim yourself while you're running. Now, this is the mega skip here. I don't know if we should call this the Encanto skip now, with Bruno hiding in the walls again. I think it's kind of funny. So many years later, Disney stole another trope from Quest for Glory. First they stole Adavis for Aladdin, and now they steal Bruno. Anyway, you're going to aim for this pillar with the Frostbite spell. It's an area of effect spell, and you should hear him doing. Sometimes you need to move a little closer to the gate there, or at least turn a little closer to the gate. That tone actually killed Bruno in the walls, the Encanto skip. I like that one. That sets up the end game. So we've actually skipped our character over to the end game. And we're going to run right to the palace now. And anybody can do that if it's an area of effect spell. I think the boom spell will work also on it. Don't quote me on that. I don't think I've tried it. Maybe I should try that. Either way. Hold the space bar. We'll skip dialogue. It doesn't matter what you say here. Once you have a button here, like OK, you have to hit enter to skip it. So you got to switch between the space bar and the enter key. But you can immediately re-enter, and there you go. We're heading to the end game. He's going to yeet out. Hold the enter key instead. Now here's where things get fun. X takes me out of the... X takes me out of... What's it called? Stealth mode. I'm going to begin to run down this way, and it's going to start triggering the events of the end game here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to run past this guy. I'm going to cast the Dazzle spell. I'm already going to bring up the open spell and have it ready right here. Oh, interesting. He's moving there. Never actually seen him move. So I'm going to move past, and now I'm going to cast Dazzle at like the last possible moment. That is a Paul Miller strat. Not everybody does that. Once you get to this area, though, I'm going to cast Calm, which calms all the monsters, and I'm going to cast Open while I'm running to get a speed run in through the door. I'm going to cast Calm immediately as I enter, move a little bit over to the left here, and I'm going to cast Open up in the upper right section of the room, and then I'm going to go hands off. If you try to mess with this area while you're on hands off mode, it gets a little janky. Don't change your icon from the open spell. Now you can change your icon from the open spell. Once he's going through the door, I switch over to trigger, hold the space bar. You're going to have to skip a bunch of dialogue. Casting the trigger spell there triggers a trap. And then you can cast open, and now you can get this entire alcove, which is actually required for all the items you need for the rest of the game. We're going to take them all. And now I'm going to back up and start casting Frostbite. Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's all very, very quick, and it does not take long. Frostbite is the win key. You win every time you use Frostbite, pretty much.
You think you have what?
I can't skip this dialogue, though.
I will not be defeated.
If we could skip this dialogue, it'd be awesome.
Everything, and you both will die. I hold the prophecy stone in
I wondered whether or not there was a way to trigger the dragon, the second phase of the dragon fight from the dragon's cave, so that way you wouldn't have to do Minos' Island or anything like that. But according to Brainiac, that is a completely different map, so it doesn't quite work the same thing. So far, this is the fastest route, and it's pretty darn fast. Notice all of the keys, the potions that I need are on my hotbar, so I'm able to immediately use them for healing. What I need to do now is I need to loot the Minotaur axe. This is so weird. I don't know why you need to do this. And then you need to also search his body to get the poison dagger. That triggers the teleport. I don't know why those two are the ones that do that. I'm going to equip the poison dagger on me. This is new strats. Imitation Blackbird. Huh, interesting. I don't remember getting that. Maybe you start with that. Alright, we're going to tell Gort to fix the pillar. We're going to tell Toro to fix the pillar, and then we're going to go help and fix the pillar. That can be a little screwy. I'm going to save the game here and hopefully be able to do a couple YOLO strats here. The dragon has a number of features. What I am going to do is try to bring the dragon's health down far enough, fast enough, in the first phase, so that way I can pretty much one-shot it in phase 2. So we're going to go here, save this, and the way that we do that is by casting a Frostbite spell, and then telling Gort to sacrifice himself. Now, if I wait too long, then I can accidentally soft lock. If the dragon is killed in this phase, he pops and you actually can't win.
The dragon has gotten loose.
I'm going to bring up the poison dagger. Refill my magic. It's worth it to just start hitting the walk forward button here and hold space, so that way you're skipping Elsa's dialogue. Let's destroy that monster is right. I'm going to throw the poison dagger up here and then start casting the Frostbite spell. Hopefully you can kill him fast enough. That was actually awful. I'm going to reload this. It's not faster to reload it, but I want to show you how it can go. Oh, interesting. I walked into Gort there. You can actually pause the menus here and get people to talk to each other. So I'm going to tell Gort this. Ah, interesting. Okay. What I want to do is once Gort is set to sacrifice himself... Oh, sorry. The dragon will continue to take damage. So I'm going to do as much damage to him as I can before he hopefully pops. There we go. Elsa can continue to do damage to him. I cannot. The dragon is just something you're going to need to practice. I still am not convinced that we have all the fastest strats for him. But hopefully we will soon. I will try one more thing on this guy then. Ideally, with this poison dagger, you can kill him. As long as you get him. There, dragon's dead. Technically, that's the last thing you need to kill in the game. All I need to do is click on agree or disagree to become the king. I'm going to try one more route here that might be faster. And it's because I also want to show off a glitch. So instead, what I'm going to do is immediately come over here and start casting Frostbite. And you can spam Frostbite spells like crazy. I'm going to cast Escape, hit Escape. He's going to immediately change. He's going to immediately start flying away. if you get them down to half-life. Now, the neat thing about the dragon, or that the frostbite spell is that it will continue to do damage while the game is paused.
Let's destroy that monster.
So we're going to run over here now with our poison dagger. And now I'm going to cast this frostbite spell up here. I'm going to get him into the frostbite area, and then I'm going to pause the game to make him take maximum damage. Kill him, and now we're good. That might be faster. Yes, this was a little experimental there. And everybody is actually saved now, which is kind of interesting. There's also no risk of popping the dragon that way. The last thing you need to do, time stops whenever you click agree or refuse. Doesn't matter which one. Refuse has more dialogue boxes, but once you click one of these, we call time.
Behold, the new king of Silmaria.
Yeah, that actually does look faster. If it's done right. It's not a guarantee, although the poison dagger definitely does a lot of damage. Yes, misclicking it hurt. But that skips, and this is something that is tradition. Notice we have this list of deeds successfully completed. All of this was skipped because we glitched the game out. Do you want to save your character? Sometimes it's nice to do that. Whoa, once and done-a-thon. Yeah. Once and done-a-thon saved its way out again. And that is the Thief Any Percent collection run. It is with explanation. It's a fun run. It's my favorite run. It's the one that I think is probably my pride and joy, my baby. But I hope that it's been helpful for anybody who actually wants to look into running the collection run. It seems like a lot, but because of the way the tricks work, you tend to learn them very quickly. So don't let the length of the run, which runs about an hour, scare you off. And the fact that there's 5 games, once you learn most of the tricks, you'll be able to nail them pretty quickly. I mean, they're never a guarantee, but just being able to beat one of these games in like 2 minutes, it's just fun to be able to say, oh my gosh, I took a point and click adventure that used to take people hours, and I can beat it in under 3 minutes, under 2 minutes for the first one. For the 5th one, you can say I took a game that most people, it could take them 15 hours, 10, 20 hours maybe, and I can beat it in 5 minutes, 6 minutes, because it really doesn't take that long to learn that route. And you can do that from a new game also. You don't need to have an import character. If you do a wizard, you're good to go. Yeah, you'll do a wizard, you'll get all the spells that you need to complete the game, and it's awesome. All right, that is all I plan on doing today. I'm actually